Hello guys, so today I am going to discuss about hyperthyroidism. So here you can see a lady who is having certain hyperthyroidism symptoms. She seems worried, right? Okay, so let me discuss what is hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism is the overproduction of thyroid hormones. In hyperthyroidism, we will see the T3 level, that is the triiodothyronine, and T4 levels are raised, but the TSH level is low. So let me tell about some clinical features of hyperthyroidism. In a hyperthyroidism patient, the patient will be thin in spite of eating a lot amount of food, right? So there will be weight loss, there will be tachycardia, patient will be irritable, there will be diarrhea in the patient will have heat intolerance. We can also see there are tremors in the patient. There will be oligomenorrhea and the BMR of the patient will be high. Next, we have certain causes of hyperthyroidism. The most important and the most common cause of hyperthyroidism is a Graves' disease. Next, we can have solitary toxic nodule, Plummer's disease, TSH secreting pituitary adenoma, Jod-Bezos phenomenon, struma ovarii, factitious hyperthyroidism in elderly patient. So here we can see that in all the causes of hyperthyroidism, the level of TSH will be low, but in case of TSH secreting pituitary adenoma, we can see the TSH level in the blood will be higher. There are three types of ways. First of all, only drugs can be used to treat hyperthyroidism. Next, the drugs followed by radioiodine ablation. Next, drugs followed by surgery. So what are the drugs available for treating hyperthyroidism? First, we have the antithyroid drugs. The antithyroid drugs include the carbimazole and propylthiouracil. What are the advantages of the drugs? First of all, the advantage is no surgery is required and no use of radioactive material. But there are certain disadvantages. What are they? They include the treatment is prolonged. The failure rate is at least 50%, and the duration of treatment depends upon the severity of the disease. Certain cases, like the mild cases, where the treatment can last for about 6 months, but for the severe cases it can last for about 2 years. Next, we have the radioiodine therapy. What are the advantages of radioiodine therapy? No surgery is required and no prolonged drug therapy like that of antithyroid drugs. But there are certain disadvantages, like the isotope facilities are available. The patient must be quarantined while radiation levels are high, and also the patient must avoid pregnancy in this period, and also the close physical contact with the children must be avoided. There can be certain eye signs in the Graves' disease which may be aggravated. Then we come to surgery. What are the advantages of surgery? The part of the thyroid or whole of the thyroid tissue is removed. Here the cure is also rapid. The cure rate is high if the surgery has been adequate. But there can be certain disadvantages also, like there can be recurrence of about 5% in subtotal thyroidectomy. There can be risk of permanent hypoparathyroidism. There can be nerve injury. There can be poor cosmetic results which can occur from the scar left after the thyroid operation. Then we come to see what are the thyroid drugs, that is the antithyroid drugs used. First of all, we have the carbimazole. What is the role of carbimazole? Carbimazole helps to inhibit the thyroid peroxidase enzyme. So it helps to prevent the formation of thyroid hormones. Next is propylthiouracil. Propylthiouracil prevents the conversion of T4 to T3. It also indicates the thyroid peroxidase enzyme is inhibited, and it is the safe drug to be used in a case of pregnancy. Okay, so next we have the interventions which has to be taken before a thyroid surgery. The patient before a thyroid surgery must be given certain antithyroid drugs, right, like I said earlier. Then we can give beta blockers like propranolol, nadolol. These are the drugs which can be given to the patient, which helps to decrease the size of the gland and also to reduce the vascularity of the gland. so they help to bring the patient in an euthyroid state. Okay, so another point, that is the beta blocker should be continued for at least 7 to 10 days after the surgery is done. Here Lugol's iodine can also be given to the patient, which helps to decrease the vascularity of the gland. Next we have one disease, that is the Graves' disease. What is a Graves' disease? Graves' disease is a diffuse vascular goiter which appears at the same time as hyperthyroidism. It usually occurs in young women and it is frequently associated with eye signs. The syndrome is that of primary thyrotoxicosis. Here we can see the 50% of the patients have a family history of autoimmune disorders. The whole of the functioning thyroid tissue is involved. There can be hypertrophy of the thyroid gland as well as the hyperplasia, which is due to the abnormal thyrotropin receptor antibodies that binds to the TSH receptor sites and produce disproportionate and prolonged effect. Here you can see a picture of a lady who is having the Graves' disease. You can see the exophthalmos eye sign. This is taken from the book Bailey and Love. Okay, so what is Graves' disease? It is an autoimmune disease and it is more commonly in female than males. It is also associated with various conditions like the Addison's disease. There can be myasthenia gravis, pernicious anemia. The histopathology of a Graves' disease will show presence of tall columnar cells, hyperactive gland. The clinical features. The certain clinical features of hyperthyroidism will be present, like the pretibial myxedema, which is actually thyroid dermopathy, that is localized lesions of the skin. There will be subperiosteal bone formation, there will be clubbing in the patient, etc. Next we have the eye signs. The eye signs is an important sign in a hyperthyroidism Graves' disease patient. The various eye signs include the exophthalmos, the Stielwag sign, von Greiff's sign, the Geoffroy's sign, the Moebius sign, the Dalrymple's sign. Okay, so next in the slide I am going to show you the different eye signs. See, first of all we have the exophthalmos, right? Then in the upper part we have the Dalrymple's sign, where we can see the retraction of the upper eyelid. Then we have the von Greiff's sign. In von Greiff's sign, there will be the eyelid lag of the upper eyelid on downward gaze. In the lower we have the Stielwag sign, the Geoffroy's sign and the Moebius sign. What is a Stielwag sign? In a Stielwag sign, there will be infrequent blinking of the eye. That is, the eyelids will blink very infrequently. What is Geoffroy's sign? There will be absence of forehead wrinkling on upward looking. As you can see, the patient while looks up, there is no upward wrinkling seen in the forehead. Then what is Moebius sign? There will be loss of accommodation reflex in the patient. So what is the diagnosis in a Graves' disease? Here the thyroid scan will show there is presence of diffuse increase in the uptake of the thyroid. Next, the diagnosis can be done by clinical features and the antibody levels, that is the thyrotropin releasing antibody, that is TRH. Management can be done by either drugs only or drugs followed by surgery or drugs followed by radioiodine ablation. Next we can see here is a comparison between the two different type of thyroid surgeries that can be done in a case of Graves' disease. This is a picture which is taken from the book Bailey and Love. The total thyroidectomy, here in case of Graves' disease, the control of the toxicity will be immediate, but in case of a subtotal thyroidectomy also we can see the control of toxicity will be immediate. But in a total thyroidectomy, the returning to the euthyroid state will be immediate, but in a subtotal thyroidectomy the return to the euthyroid state will be variable and it can take up to 12 months. The risk of occurrence, that is the reoccurrence, in a total thyroidectomy will be none, whereas in a subtotal thyroidectomy it will be lifelong. It can take up to 5%. What is the risk of thyroid failure in a total thyroidectomy? It will be 100%, whereas in a subtotal thyroidectomy it will be lifelong. It can be up to 100% at 30 years. There can be risk of permanent hypoparathyroidism, which is about 5% in a total thyroidectomy operation, whereas it will be only 1% in a subtotal thyroidectomy. The need for follow-up in a total thyroidectomy will be minimal, as the total thyroid tissue is removed here, whereas in a subtotal will be lifelong, as certain part of the thyroid tissue is still retained in the body. Right. So with this, I come to the end of the video. Hope you have understood what is hyperthyroidism and what is a Graves' disease. Hope you have also liked the video. And one more thing, if you want anything for me to improve, please write down in the comment section.